Welcome, citizen. I am your host, Venerati. In today's segment, we're going to be doing a Starcraft for Dummies review of this game that we got right here. Now, this game I think is like silver, gold level. Not really sure, but it's not their level that's important. It's what happens in this game. Now, this is a longer game, but really where the importance lies is in the beginning. This is a containment map. This is what we're going to see. SF Ghost is going to be going up against Lazy. Lazy, the red Protoss player, of course, Ghost being a Zerg player. Zerg are very prone to being contained, as you have to, of course, build on the creep. And if you get, like to say this, a base like this, you don't have a back door. We're going to see cannons here, basically forcing him to stay within this space. Now, there's two ways of combating this. One is circumventing the contain, which is going around what you have, what's on your front base like here. So that's either Nidus Worm or Overlord for a Zerg player. And of course, other races get around it different manners, but SF Ghost here doesn't do anything. Basically, he kind of sits inside, and we're going to go along and look at where at different points in the game you can do to combat this. It's very common to be contained. I do it all the time as a Terran player. You know, just put a bunker like up here. Actually, I prefer to put the bunker up here, but just not allowing the player to feel comfortable in his base. Not only are you backing him up in a corner, but you're actually doing some psychological damage. He just feels uneasy. Now, number one, the scouting here. Scouting would make a huge difference. You see an early forge. If you see an early forge, that almost always guarantees that the Protoss is up to something goofy. Now, whether he's looking to super early expand, is going to throw a pylon, he would throw a pylon, a forge, and then a cannon, and try to create some sort of wall there. But if he's not doing that, then he's going to probably be using those cannons in an offensive position. So scout in the beginning. If you don't scout, you're leaving yourself open for a contain, especially as a Zerg player. Not so much as the other Terran or Protoss. Now, here's the second thing right here. We have this Overlord watching the ramp. You could have pushed out a little bit more. So he's just right on the edge. He will not be able to see that, as it is outside of his field of view. So, moving out a little bit, making sure that your front door isn't going to be camped. Secondly, he went straight to roaches. Now, there's nothing wrong with roaches, but if he'd had some early Zerglings, he would have been able to apply pressure to this pylon, not allowing this cannon to finish up. Now, the Overlord moves away, is not seeing anything. Now, generally, as you progress along in the tier play, you see people throwing down hatches around 14 and 15. Now, right now, we have SF Ghost at 22, and he hadn't expanded. So, not that this is wrong. You can certainly one base. You can do a 7 roach push, early push against Terran and Protoss, both of which will work. But right now, the key thing that's really put him in this position is that he didn't scout. Of course, he didn't pull this Overlord back either. So now Lazy has a cannon down, bringing in another cannon, another pylon, and he's got it backed up by a Zealot. So what can you do now as a Zerg player? Right now, you can still outrun this Zealot. So throw up a lot of Zerglings. He has the money for it. He's supply locked right now, but get those Zerglings, run away. I mean, the cannon's only going to be able to throw a few pot shots at you. Now, SF Ghost here also can snipe these pylons, as they are only over here. And I think they won't actually have the range. I think they're too close to actually get to them. But these roaches right here, I mean, they take a lot of hits from those cannons, and they'll live. So you do see them circumventing. This is good. You want to circumvent the static defenses, as they are static. You can't move them. They're highly effective if you engage them toe-to-toe. But so, yeah, all right. He's taking the damage. He kills this one right here. I feel that if he backed up, killed this Zealot, and then continued to kill it, see, he lost 2 or 3 roaches right there, but come over here and finish this one off as well. They would have been powered off, and then you could have come over here and, you know, kept up making sure that Lazy has to keep putting money into this, keep going. Meanwhile, we have SF Ghost building a lot more roaches. The roaches really aren't the answer to this. Secondly, he could have taken these units and just walked over here to this base. He's got 1 cannon and a Zealot. Those roaches are going to cremate this Zealot and are going to be able to take out that photon cannon, and then they can come in the base and hit the base. See, that's the one thing about containment, it actually leaves your base very, very naked in the wind. You're just begging for some sort of counterattack. So that's why you have to really make, if you are going to contain, you got to make it nice and tight. Another common containment that we see, for especially against Zerg, throw 2 pylons right here, and then throw the cannons behind the pylons so that the Zerglings have to chew through the pylons, and then you have to, the cannons will be powered down, but meanwhile, the cannons are DPSing those Zerglings. You're going to lose a lot of money in that. So, what do? You tech. SF Ghost has been stuck in this base for a long time right now, and yeah, it's been about 4 minutes. He has not upgraded to a lair. You know what? As a Zerg player, you've got Mutalisk, and if you're contained, go ahead and tech straight to Mutalisk, run over here, and just ping the crap out of him, because he's not going to be able to field that much of an army, especially early on, as he's invested a lot of money into these stacked defenses. Yes, there are a couple of stalkers there, but it's not going to be enough. Now, this is good. What SS Ghost did right here, these spine crawlers, good. You're countering in a defensive manner so that he can't encroach anymore. Also, putting the creep out so he can't build any closer to you. But, so we finally see the hatchery being turned into a lair. We haven't seen any sort of Zerglings running around. So he's just sitting in his base. And this is where the game completely falls away from SF Ghost, and he can't do anything, as this Nexus will be coming online. And there's one more thing SF Ghost does that I'll comment on, as we will see it come on after the hatchery. But in this situation, you just cannot allow yourself to be bottled up, because if you do it, you're allowing Lazy or your opponent, whoever's trying to contain you, to have complete control of the map, do what he wants to, and you're basically being held by these static defenses, which are static. Just go around, use a Nidus Worm, get out of there, run to his base, try to do something. Look, there's only 1 cannon there. He's going to have to chase you down, warp any unit. You can snipe the unit, run here, rape his mineral line, and then you're back in the game. Meanwhile, while he's trying to reproduce his mineral line, you can kill this and then take your natural, or you can just leave it there and go take an expansion there, an expansion there, or you can just do it right back to him. But either way, you cannot sit in here and ball up. Now here's where things really get bad for SF Ghost. Hydralisks. Hydralisks are not the answer to this. In no form or fashion are Hydralisks the answer to this, because they're land units. You still have to use this, or you have to be carried over. Now we do see SF Ghost, he will be upgrading his overlords into he'll get the, where do we go? Yeah, the ventral sacks. So you can carry units, but it's going to be too little too late here. And I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward this as we wait for basically the end to happen. As this, I mean, he does get the range upgrade, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that, but the Hydralisks will just sit there and soak up that damage. Yeah, they do a lot of DPS, but look how many stalkers he has too. Basically, what we're looking at is it's too little too late. He should have either broken the contain with the Zergling run by, gotten the metabolic boost. He should have gotten the layer upgrade quicker, gone for Mutalisks, or he should have tried to get the hatchery, doing some scouting. All of which, all those key points are what led SF Ghost to where he is now. Not that he's a bad player, but obviously he was doing something, and he just doesn't. He did his own thing, didn't watch what his enemy was doing, and basically paid the price for it. As he does do the drop right here, it's trying to break the containment, but it's too little too late, as Lazy has a crap ton of stalkers right there. He has SF Ghost's natural populated, and we are going to see the robotics facility coming down. So right now, this game is gone for SF Ghost, as we see complete dominance of the map for Lazy. Lazy doing a good job of putting pylons everywhere. Like, this is awesome. I love this. He can reinforce his army anywhere on this map, pretty much, except by the Zelnaka Towers. But, so, not allowing any sort of ninja-based build right here. So, we are going to see a little bit of QQ. It's not really QQ, but whatever. Either way, Lazy, at this point, I kind of feel like he's toying with him. Because SFO's been 1 basing, and now Lazy has 3 bases. Yeah, he's got a lot of Hydralisks, but this just wasn't the answer to the problem. So, hopefully, by watching this, I've given you some sort of idea how to break the contain, especially as a Zerg player. I didn't really talk much about being contained as other races. You don't generally see it too often. Terran, I mean, you just fly your base over here, and that contain is completely gone. As Zerg, you get locked into a rut. It's very hard to break the contain sometime. So you either got to tech out of it by running to Mutalisks, or you have to completely just circumvent the defenses either by utilizing a Nidus Worm. Great thing to use, especially in this base, because look, early on in the game, when this contain had just started, look how much of this base just is not, like, there's nothing here. Even, let's see, yeah. I mean, 8 minutes into the game, we finally had a pylon right there, but a Nidus Worm right here, even over here in the corner, would have really helped FS Ghost's cause. It might not mean, he didn't necessarily guarantee his win, but, I mean, this late in the game, being contained, he didn't bring his hatchery into a lair, so you have to tech, you have to get mobile, and you have to circumvent that contain. If you sit inside there, you're just going to die a slow death, like we saw FS Ghost there. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this critical overview. This was definitely not a bashing. FS Ghost just fell into a rut. Lazy did a good job of containment. So, either way, if you have any questions or comments, you didn't like it, let us know. Leave a comment. Hope you like what you saw today, guys. And as always, citizens, stay safe.